Hello and welcome back. I would like to start by saying that if you do not wish to hear some very controversial opinions today, I suggest tuning out. I will not be offended. Otherwise, get comfortable. So, I'd like to start off today reading a tweet from a Mr. Kyle Becker, somebody I follow on Twitter. And what he's talking about here is something I think we all know is somewhat kind of a out in the open type corruption where presidents are paid, ex-presidents are paid lots and lots of money once they're no longer president to go around and speak to groups of people and for book deals. For those people who are still in the legacy world who still purchase the books because they don't believe the congressional record will be kept intact for the future generations, I guess. I'm not sure. But I'm going to read his tweet. Kyle Becker here, in quotation, Joe Biden amassed vast amounts of wealth from his book sales since 2017. He didn't take any money from foreign actors, and he isn't guilty of political influence peddling. His family making millions based on nothing is just coincidence. Everything is above board. About that. As it stands, we're left to trust USA Today that Jill grossed $3 million royalties plus about 700,000 from speaking fees for a book that sold only 7,000 copies in its first week. And that from that book deal, she netted more than $1 million in the 2 years prior to its release, but only $175,319 in the year it was published, 2019. It's possible an advance was paid, but could a publisher have justified that amount? Now that's Jill, but if you keep on reading this tweet, there's more about Joe. We are told that Joe netted $12.2 million after expenses in the same deal for a book that sold 300,000 copies. Excluding the $4.2 million earned from touring and speaking, that yields $8 million of income that we are to assume came from book royalties. Higher if we know his gross revenues before expenses. For analysis purposes, consider that his book had a retail price of $27 for the hardcover and $18 for the paperback, and assume a reasonable mix of sales, so the average price was $23 with no discounting. On 300,000 books sold, gross revenue would have been just under $7 million. As an author, Joe would have likely received about 12% of that using a blended royalty rate, 15% hardcover and 7.5% paperback, typical from publishers, yielding about $800,000. Round it to $1 million, double it. It's not even close to $8 million. So he likely got an advance, but would a publisher have advanced that kind of money to an author whose prior work promises to keep sold only 49,000 copies? So many questions. I mean, this is the deep state being exposed. This is the money laundering. This is the fraud in our financial systems. This is the wealthy loopholes to continue to reserve the majority of the resources for themselves, and who only have to give just the percentage that they feel they are necessary to the masses who aren't able to uh, obtain that type of fortune. And this is just one guy. Just one guy in one country, okay? They're all over the world still, we do forget about that. They're all over the place. Uh, I hate to bring this guy up, because I know they're going through a hard time over there right now, but Israel is not innocent in the least. And their current president, Netanyahu, well, let's just say there are some questions that we still need to have verified because, we have a war going on over there right now. There's people being killed, and in representing his country and his people, Mr. Netanyahu here wants us to remember what Amalek has done to you, says our holy Bible. Now go and smite Amalek, and utterly destroy all that have, and spare them not, but slay both man and woman, infant and suckling, ox and sheep, camel and ass. So this is the Israeli foreign policy when it comes to dealing with the people who don't agree with the way they handle business. They are going to use 5,000-year-old text. They are going to use those as the um, sort of the reasoning for furthering conflict and for the justification for the murder of innocent people. I think if we want to talk about corrupt book deals and where money goes, what's up with the Bible? That thing gets printed more than any other book known to man. And I don't know anybody who has ever bought a copy. I know one person one time who bought a copy to have a name engraved in it and to have it given as a gift. Other than that, the most that I know is that they are printed, somehow paid for by the churches, I guess, and given away for free. Just saying, we're going to look into the publishing and the money and how it's all paper and ink and stuff printed on paper that becomes valuable that people are willing to kill for. I'd look into some of that corruption first, but see, the problem I think that we might all be kind of under the false impression of is we think this is happening sort of spontaneously or accidentally, but it seems like a lot of it is planned. Going to let this video play for a second, and I'd like you to just stop and think about, you know, you want to going to call this conspiracy, you want to going to call this crazy, and if you want to read it, just go down to the topics that I leave down below for when it says more, click down, and there'll be all the links that I use to display what I'm displaying here. But let's just hear this one guy for a second.
He predicted 3 world wars. The First World War, he said, must be brought about, and I'm quoting from Albert Pike. The First World War must be brought about in order to permit the Illuminati to overthrow the power of the czars in Russia and of making that country a fortress of atheistic communism. The divergences caused by the agents of the Illuminati between the British and German empires will be used to foment this war. He says, quote, the Second World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences between the fascists and the political Zionists. This war must be brought about so that Nazism is destroyed and that the political Zionism will be strong enough to institute a sovereign state of Israel in Palestine. He's now thinking about this Third World War, and it says that it will be caused by the differences between the political Zionists and the leaders of the Islamic world. The war must be conducted in such a way that Islam, the Muslim Arabic world, and political Zionism, the State of Israel, mutually destroy each other. That's what it says. Meanwhile, the other nations, once more divided on this issue, will be constrained to fight to the point of complete physical, moral, spiritual, and economic exhaustion.
Okay. It seems like, if the story is not being written as it's going here, at least it had been written somewhat about before. And either there are people who read those works and we are acting them out, or they're just really that good at predicting things. I don't know. I mean, I I actually think they think most people are just stupid, and they think that we are really stupid. That can be the only explanation that I have for the boldness of the acts that they're pulling off in front of us right now. Listen to this. Listen to this. This is
Specifically
hilarious.
for the planet. If we want to continue fighting battles like environmentally conscious humans, we must make the change to sustainable tanks and weaponry. There are so many new concepts for battery-powered fighter jets that can carry many more missiles, biodegradable missiles, of course. Something literally everybody can do to stop this nonsense is, for example, block the roads to gardens and farms so the plants don't get overrun by these heavy, heavy tanks. Hand grenades, very important. If you use hand grenades, please use vegan grenades. No animal should have to give their life for all this mayhem and chaos.
All they got to do is, what it take whatever that happens in the bathroom after vegans use the bathroom and make a bomb out of that. But I kid. I mean, it does say it's satire here, but I don't think this is far off. I think a lot of people actually not only fell for this, I fell for it. I think Scott Adams fell for it too, but um, it's just it's like very representative of the type of logic that the people who believe that human beings have done so much damage to the world that now in response to uh, the learning that human beings have done some damage to the world, I guess, that we're going to spend every resource possible. We're going to take everything that we can out of this earth and out of the ground to make sure that we fix it. I mean, there's this episode here of old episode of Star Trek that um I think had something to do with this where oh yeah, okay, so and the reason I tied this to that was like, so there's so many answers to the humanitarian cause of war and the environmental consequences that can be mitigated to continue having these wars the way we have them today, when really the best solution, if you're going to concern the environment and humanitarianism, is already been addressed in this episode of Star Trek called A Taste of Armageddon. And in this episode of Star Trek, they are end up on a planet where there is like an AI computer system that is simulating different warfare scenarios, and the inhabitants of the planet are actively tied to the computer simulation of the warfare. And when battles are fought and lost, the people who end up being counted as casualties in the computer simulation are voluntarily euthanized in disintegration chambers. So, I mean, if you think about it, that would be the most advanced and environmentally friendly way to continue carrying out these conflicts is to let the computer simulations take over. And when the soldiers that the computer predicts have been enlisted or part of the battle, or I guess you have to join into the program or something. I'm not exactly sure. Maybe because the cities are being targeted. That whenever your city is destroyed, the people just voluntarily, because it's part of their way of life, they've all agreed to it, they just walk into a gas chamber. I mean, I'm not going to do it, but I mean, if we want to talk about ridiculous ways to fix the problems of the world that we keep on having, um, let's just see. I keep on saying they think we're stupid. Let's see what else kind of stupid stuff they think we believe. I guess I got a whole bunch of them that I left myself here to find later. That's what I do is I save these links for myself throughout the week, and then at the end of the week, I try to remember why I thought they were interesting. So, oh, here we go. Bunch of stuff about Elon Musk and Twitter here, which is great, I think, because Here we go. This is a headline from CBS, one of our most reputable sources, of course, that it says it's been a year since Elon Musk bought Twitter, now called X. The service has lost advertisers and users, so therefore he's not doing a good job because what he really did, my response, because what really happened was in the short time since Elon Musk purchased Twitter, the platform has been able to relinquish its control by advertisers and it has increased security and removed millions of fake accounts. That's what really happened. They think we're stupid. They think he's a bad conservative who likes free speech. So he's definitely not somebody who you want to listen to. But he's done exactly what he told us he would do when he purchased Twitter. Is he made it a place that advertising cannot control what dialogue is expressed on posts, and all these fake accounts have been deleted. That was influencing advertising dollars as well. Now, I don't know if that's occurring as much, but you know, that's the assumption we're led to make, or at least if we want to believe one side or the other. And here I'm gonna pull up some more stuff. I know it was all about Musk here. Try to. Okay, here we go. NBC, another one of those great revenue sources. Exclusive U.S. Border Patrol. Oh, sorry. Exclusive. U.S. Border Patrol officials received no official request and little warning ahead of Elon Musk's highly publicized September 28th visit to the U.S.-Mexico border. So which one is it? Was it little warning or was it highly publicized? Huh? 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 Okay. They think we're really stupid. I mean, they really, really think we're stupid. Especially when it comes to stuff like social media and Twitter. They think, I mean, I guess if you're on social media, you must not have graduated from school because nobody who goes to college is on social media, of course, because that's exactly where they do all the advertising for people in college. It's on social media. But none of those people are just college make you smarter because I don't know. I wish I had the little meme with the button pushing thing up right now. But here we go. We got one more here. Another one from NBC. It says this is really going after Musk hard right now. He was their champion of environmentalism. He built those electric cars. He got the SpaceX. I mean, he got all kinds of stuff. They loved him until he said he was like, you know, not so into all the things that they have to be into or else they get kicked out of the club. But here we go. A year after billionaire entrepreneur Elon Musk finalized his $44 billion purchase of Twitter, some LGBTQ people say that once the once hospitable home for community building has turned toxic. Twitter is now a home for community building. It's a home, but I never saw Twitter on Zillow. You don't live on social media. It's not a home. Home is a place where your body lives inside of, excuse me, inside of, and you have food in the cupboard and you use the bathroom. That's the home that they're talking about. But they're trying to displace that idea onto a form of like a theory, like social media is like a home for. No, it's not a home. It's on a computer. It's just some computer is something you have in your home, but Twitter is not a home. It's a social media platform. It's an app. It's not a home. Let's just try to hold down this hyperbole and this rhetoric and stuff. You know, that's it's what's causing people to get all confused and all jacked up is because they think that you know, if they speak about it in such a way, call it a home, it's going to hit that point that they want to make better, but they're obfuscating around the actual reality of what they're trying to say, trying to get you, the reader, to jump to their conclusion. And this is what we got to watch out for. We got to watch out for what these words that people are using are trying to make us do. And here we go. What are they building here? Oh, okay. Here. This is, I want you to watch this, okay? This is the future. This is the tech. This is what's going to save the planet, okay? Maybe I'm going to play the sound.
Look, it's an electric charger for an electric car. And right there, that is a diesel-powered generator to run your electric charging point for your car. That generator runs 24 hours of the day, 7 days a week. We're saving the planet.
We're saving the planet. Sorry, I can't help it. It's just, I want to be. I wish I was at that sales pitch meeting. I wish I could have. That dude, whoever sold them that idea, he should be the president. He should be running the whole country. He should be running the banks, the world. He can. That's the miracle worker right there. He sold somebody. They spent however much they spent to build that, and that was a good idea. Ugh. Okay, if you don't see it, I'm sorry. I can't help you see it. It's just hilarious to me. So, I mean, that brings me to the last of my tweets that I was going to share with you that I'm trying to be entertaining for you here, but I do have a topic that kind of came up this week that I looked a lot into, and I want to share some of my impressions that I had after I looked into it a little bit. Something about a little event we had in our past. This was after the country of Israel was formed after World War II, and um, there was some war still going on over there, of course, like it's, steadily been a war in every country or somewhere in the world since World War One, since they figured out that war was very profitable, since the banks started getting involved, I think, more. But um, the U.S. was attacked by Israel, which is why a lot of people have a hard time being completely supportive of them and calling them our allies, because this happened, I believe, in the 60s. In fact, when this will come up, that I'll get to the point at the end, when LBJ was president. So already after the assassination, LBJ assumed the presidency. I don't think this was when he was, in fact, voted as president. I think this was when he was assumed the presidency. I'm not even sure if he was elected. I mean, some of the history I'm still very fuzzy on, but so the USS Liberty was attacked by Israel, and they covered it up. They said it was an attack. It was a mistake. They didn't know that it was a U.S. ship. And, well, a lot of that is in question because there were survivors, and there was, a lot of information about what the USS Liberty was and where it was and why it was there. So, especially we shared that information with our allies, but it was not a warship. It was a communications, intelligence vessel. It was an intelligence vessel. So, because it was an intelligence vessel that was specifically attacked by Israel, who was known for their intelligence capabilities, I was, kind of wondering what type of technology was on the ship, or what type of technological changes were made after that ship was attacked, showing the weaknesses of the ship that was the intelligence ship, and what changes were made after that were in order to help the intelligence purposes, and who was the benefactor of those technological changes. So, one article I found on the technological changes, um, I looked up this one, and this is all down in my notes, of course. So please, I'm not going to read it all to you. I implore you to look into some of this yourself. Um, I just, wanted to know a little bit about some of the technological advancements that were made around the time that happened. And so, we go back to that year, 1968. I believe 1968 was the year the USS Liberty was attacked. And there's a lot of stuff they said that went on that year. And, we got the launch of Apollo 8. Um, Smoke detectors became home use after that, which emergency devices, something that may have been needed on a ship, maybe they were on the ship, I don't know. Smoke detectors, um, leading up to the microprocessor, computers. I mean, it just it's funny how, when we have events that happen throughout history, it shows that the push towards the investment in technology that would have prevented that type of thing or may have helped prevent that type of thing, it ends up being a big investment right afterwards. I'm not saying it could have been planned. I'm just saying, you know, yeah, I'm not saying it, but there's other things that we should look at, not just the technological side of it, because, what is technology? I just said it. Technology is fueled by investment. And if I can just get this window to crash for me. There we go. There we go. Yeah, there we go. All right. Some of the economic changes that happened after that. And going to the encyclopedia here. What did I pull up here? I think it's Encyclopedia Britannica. I'm not trying to always just use some weird website to prove my point, which sometimes those are the only ones that actually are able to get some information out there that other places will not do on purpose. Uh, EH.net. Man, I thought this Economic History Association. Here we go. We have a brief economic history of modern Israel. This is a very interesting article too. I think you could do yourself a favor by reading more into this and seeing what the things the way I have read them here. But what I was able to ascertain is that so from 1950 until 1965, Israel achieved a high growth rate. The real gross national product grew by an average rate of over 11%. What made this possible? Israel was fortunate in receiving large sums of capital inflows, U.S. aid in the form of unilateral transfers and loans, German reparations and restitutions to individuals, sale of State of Israel bonds abroad, and unilateral transfers to public institutions, mainly the Jewish Agency, which retained responsibility for immigration, absorption, and agricultural settlement. Thus, Israel had resources available for domestic use, for public-private consumption and investment, about 25% more than its own gross national product. This made possible a massive investment program, mainly financed through special government budget. Both the enormity of needs and socialist philosophy of main political the main political party and the government coalitions led to extreme government intervention in the economy leading up to the attack on the USS Liberty. They had no idea that was a USS intelligence ship. But I think, Arab Israel conflicts, and here we go. After that, the Palestinian economy developed rapidly. Real per capita national income grew at an annual rate close to 20% between 1969 and 1972, but fluctuated widely thereafter and actually decreased in times of hostilities. And I am skimming past something that I can't seem to locate exactly. And if you want to go through and read the article more accurately, I would implore you to, because there's a lot of good stuff in here. But something that did happen immediately after the attack on the USS Liberty was Israel went from a fixed exchange rate for their currency to a fluctuating exchange rate, which it may not seem significant if you don't know a whole lot about how stocks and investments work, but I think, excuse me, even though, I'm not trying to bring up some crazy, conspiracy stuff, but if you want to, say, well, who's in the banking system and Wall Street and who would benefit from the fluctuations, or who knows how to benefit from those fluctuations when it comes to the banking system and Wall Street, well, I'm just going to leave that comment at that, and you can fill in the rest for yourself. And I will, like I said, I was going to get back to the LBJ point because, he was president when all that stuff was going on. And I don't really seem to think that he was the person that we are sold to believe he was, or at least at the time how he was sold to the country as the person involved. But if you click on this link right here on this Twitter page, it's still twitter.com, by the way. So um, I believe this was it an hour long documentary? The this is yes, almost an hour long documentary about the loss of the USS Liberty from the survivors, firsthand eyewitness accounts, uh, people who were involved in the militaries of the world, USS military, stuff like that at the time. You might see the history a little bit differently. And you might have a little bit different opinion about what's going on right now if you watch the whole thing. I'm not going to put it on right now because, like I said, it's an hour long. But I'm gonna end on a couple of notes here. I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna look at this because I thought it was funny because we hear about how the Palestinians and the conflict between the two people. We don't hear much about the Jew on Jew crime. We think this Jewish thing is just like all the Jewish people are in on it. Well, it seems like they got the same problem as every other society where certain members of their culture use it to their advantage at the behest of some of the other people and they get thrown under the bus. So we're gonna listen to this woman talk about it real quick right here, and I think this is something that everybody, like I said, I'm not gonna make a lot of friends with this kind of stuff. So if you don't want to be a part of it, you can go ahead and cut it off right now. But I'm gonna make you listen to it now since I think it's something that's worth listening to.
Yours is a voice of criticism we don't often hear in the United States. Often when there is dissent expressed in the United States against policies of the Israeli government, people here are called anti-Semitic. What is your response to that as an Israeli Jew?
Well, it's a trick. We always use it. When from Europe somebody is criticizing Israel, then we bring up the Holocaust. When in this country people are criticizing Israel, then they are anti-Semitic. And the organization is strong and has a lot of money, and the ties between Israel and the American Jewish establishment are very strong, and they are strong in this country. As you know, they have power, which it's okay. They are talented people, and they have power, money, and media, and other things. And their attitude is Israel, my country, right or wrong, the identification. And they are not ready to hear criticism. And it's very easy to blame people who criticize certain acts of the Israeli government as anti-Semitics and to bring up the Holocaust and the suffering of the Jewish people. And that justify everything we do to the Palestinians.
You heard it. This is not people. I'm not making this up. I'm just repeating it. Maybe you don't like me for repeating it. Maybe you wish I wouldn't repeat it. But I guess some of y'all ain't heard it enough times. So I'm going to make sure you hear it. And I guess I'm gonna finish with this. Yeah, yeah. This is some of the last hypocrisy that I can't even. I don't even know what to say of this. This is one I just read right before I started this thing right now. But from the Associated Press, breaking. The UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees says thousands of people broke into its Gaza aid warehouse to take food and other basic survival items, which the agency's directors say is a worrying sign that civil order is starting to break down. In an active combat zone, they're worried that civil order is starting to break down. I guess maybe a little bit too late. Eh.